Hello everyone! Today we'll be talking about a children's book author, Cynthia Rylant. Cynthia Rylant was born on June 6, 1954 in Hopewell, West Virginia. However, she spent most of her childhood in Illinois with her parents. But when she was 4 years old, her parents separated and she was forced to live with her grandparents. Life with her grandparents was very difficult. They lived in a very economically depressed environment with no access to electricity or children's books. However, her grandparents and the townspeople are all very kind to her. After 4 years of living with her grandparents, she moved back to West Virginia with her mom. Her father died when she was 13 years old. She eventually took up her mother's maiden name as her pen name and wrote the book When I Was Young in the Mountains. It was instantly a success. Most of Rylant's books featured small animals centered around topics such as exploring friendship, love, grief, and other mysteries. It often draws on her memories of growing up in the Appalachia. Some examples of Rylant's famous books include Missing May, published in 1992, which won a Newbery Medal, A Fine White Dust, published in 1985 with a Newbery Honor. When I Was Young in the Mountains, published in 1982, is Caldecott's Honor. The Relatives Came, published in 1985, is also a Caldecott Honors book. The last book is A Blue-Eyed Daisy, published in 1985. It is an ALL notable children's book. Cynthia Rylant also wrote on children's book series. One of the most famous series is Henry and Mudge. Her book Henry and Mudge teaches children about love, loyalty, and life. Another one of her children's book series is Annie and Snowball. It is a spin-off of Henry and Mudge, and it teaches children how to have fun with their cousins and siblings. The third children's book series is Mr. Potter and Tabby. This one focuses on how pets can alleviate the loneliness of the elderly people. It features the daily life events of Mr. Potter with Tabby and how much fun they are having each day. One of her most famous books is Missing May. It is published in 1991 and won a Newbery Medal in 1993. This book focuses on the life of Summer, who is a 12-year-old orphan as she deals with the loss of her Aunt May and her concern for her Uncle Ob. The motivational plot starts when Summer starts to care about Uncle Ob's feelings, and she is willing to put aside her differences with a classmate she is not fond of. Eventually, she takes part of the plan in cheering up her uncle after Aunt May died, and she got past her own griefs too. The major theme of this book focuses on grief and loneliness, and how people cope with them. Rylant experienced familial isolation as a child, and it has led her to write about close characters who rely on each other to overcome any difficulties. Another famous book is The Relatives Came, which got a Caldecott Honor in 1986. This book describes how relatives packed their bags and came from far across the mountains in the summer to be with their family. A major theme of this book is that families and relatives will always come and gather together no matter how far apart they are. This book also focuses on family reunions. The relatives are a support to the fatherless family. It resembles Rylant's family very much when her parents separated when she was 4 years old. A lot of her major works reflect on her life growing up. Most of the plots takes place in Virginia. Her first book, When I Was Young in the Mountains, was based on her life with her grandparents in the 1950s. She lived a simple life with no electricity or running water, but they enjoyed living in the countryside. Rylant develops her trust in animals when she was a child. Her experience growing up with pets led to many children's series books featuring pets as major characters. During Rylant's career, she has won many awards, including the Boston Globe Horn Book Honor for her book, Appalachia, The Voices of Sleeping Birds. Several of her books were voted the best book of the year for young adults by the American Library Association. Examples include A Kindness, published in 1988, Soda Jerk, published in 1990, and A Couple of Cooks and Other Stories About Love, published in 1990. In her later years, she was in a romantic relationship with Dave Pikey, the author of Captain Underpants, but nothing came out of it. In 1993, she relocated to Eugene, Oregon with her son Nathaniel from her first marriage. 10 years later, in 2003, she moved to Portland, Oregon. Some interesting facts about Rylant are that she loves to rearrange her furniture and lives with many pets in Pacific Northwest. She likes small, quiet old towns as it gives her peace. Rylant also learned to play piano from her landlady in Beaver, West Virginia, who taught her hymns. However, when the Beatles arrived and captured her attention, she left behind her piano lessons. Rylant went to college in Ohio, and she stays there many years later. After becoming a children's writer, she went to explore the Midwest, in which gives her inspiration and a soothing feeling. As you can see, Rylant's life experiences influenced a lot of her work in children's books. Rylant lost her father at a young age, and this had a strong impact on her, as she noted in her works. The grief and loneliness that she experienced, however, did not hinder her. Perhaps her best experience was working as a librarian. Librarianship exposed her to a brand new universe of young children reading material. All the new stories gave her inspiration to create her own world of books. Throughout her other works, she uses her childhood experiences of loneliness, family, and grief as a theme.